How's it going, everybody? I'm Landan with LMR.com. In this video, we're going to be explaining the steps that you need to take in order to remove the rack and pinion from a Fox Body Mustang. Let's get right into it. So the rack and pinion is an essential component of any vehicle. If the rack and pinion is worn or leaking, it will affect the overall handling and safety of the vehicle. Today we're going to be explaining the general removal steps for a rack and pinion on our 1986 Capri, since we recently gave the entire power steering system a complete overhaul. The steps you're about to see are applicable for 1979 to 1993 Mustangs. Now, for the most part, all the hardware wrenching sizes are going to be the same as I called them out. However, there may be that random piece of hardware that is different if someone before you mismatched the hardware or a component was switched out at some point in the car's life. So just keep that in mind as we progress through the removal steps. You will need a decent selection of tools to complete this job, as well as some pretty good mechanical knowledge. Now, whenever the rack and pinion is removed from the car, it's important to inspect the O-rings and replace the Teflon washers on the two lines that were installed into the rack. If you would like to see a few of our other videos related to the steering system, such as installing a new steering rack, a new pump, or flushing and bleeding the power steering fluid, check out the video description. So before we get started, if you value this type of content, go ahead and like the video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more Fox Mustang content and the occasional Capri. And be sure those notifications are turned on, that way you don't miss any of our future uploads. To begin, safely support the vehicle as high as you can if you're working off of jack stands or the entire thing with a lift. Locate the power steering cooler tube and hoses. Position a drain pan under the hoses. Dislodge the push pin securing the frame rail splash shield to the core support. Clean this area if it's needed. Loosen the clamp securing the upper hose to the cooler tube and slide it back. This is the hose that is going to the bottom of the power steering pump. Of course, be prepared for fluid to run out. Loosen the clamp securing the lower hose to the cooler tube and slide it back. This is the low pressure return hose coming from the power steering rack. Just like the upper hose, be prepared for fluid to run out. Allow the fluid to drain from both hoses. While the fluid is draining, go ahead and remove the wheels. Pick either the driver or passenger side to start with and locate the cotter pin at the outer tie rod. Straighten the pin with a pair of needle nose pliers and then remove it from the outer tie rod. Loosen and remove the 18mm retaining nut. Strike the forward-facing side of the spindle with a hammer until the outer tie rod is free. Repeat these steps for the other side. Locate the steering shaft to rack connection. This is right underneath the rag joint. If it's needed, rotate the steering shaft so you have access to the pinch bolt. Clean the area and then place a reference mark. For airbag-equipped 1990 to 1993 Fox Mustangs, have a friend hold the steering wheel while you loosen the pinch bolt to prevent the wheel from rotating. If the wheel rotates uncontrollably, it could damage the clock spring. Loosen and remove the pinch bolt with the 7/16 12-point socket. Now we can remove the steering rack hardware. Use a combination of a 15mm socket on the bolt head and an 18mm box end wrench on the nut. Push the rack bolts towards the rear of the car. Use a pry bar and slowly work the rack off of the sleeves and the K-member. While doing this, separate the shaft from the rack. You want to bring the rack forward until you can get a wrench on the high pressure fitting. This is the hose that occupies the lower port. Loosen and remove this fitting with the correct size wrench. Now, the upper fitting is the low pressure line and it just needs to be loosened so that the fitting can swivel, but you can fully remove it if you'd like. Now you can remove the steering rack from the car. With the rack removed from the car, use this opportunity to clean the surrounding area and the hardware that you plan on reusing prior to installing any of the new components. That completes the removal steps for the power steering rack in a Fox Mustang. All right, people, wrapping things up, we hope this video has provided you with a better understanding of removing the rack and pinion from a Fox Body Mustang. Again, if we helped you out, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on those notifications. We're going to sign off for the day, so we'll catch you guys in the next one.